There you go.
I remember I would like cry because I was so shy to go buy lunch in the cafeteria. Haha, like Dorothy, did you know that dork means whale's penis? Children are so cruel. I started mimicking what the other girls were doing in school that were popular. I started like observing what they were doing in between classes in class. And so I started saying hi to everyone, like opening up this dialogue, because dialogue is visibility.
I saw you on stage with Neil Patel and the same font size as Neil Patel, which is mind-blowing, and congrats, and huge fan.
My name is Dot Long, aka Mother of Social Dragons. Long, my last name means dragon. Dragon is actually a social media framework and strategy, well, that I've been practicing myself for the last 8 years in my career, and this is the strategy that we use to implement some of the biggest clients in tech and in design. I do workshops and keynotes. I also have 2 online courses right now with Domestika. So I teach my strategies to over 150,000 students worldwide. The other thing that I do is I'm a content creator. So I create Instagram content for my subscribers. So you can actually go to my Instagram account and hit that subscribe button. And for $4.99 a month, you can actually learn marketing strategy with me via a series of Instagram Reels videos. It's an opportunity for my subscribers to ask me anything. I'm also, invest in real estate, Casa Dragon, because it's a home for creators and home of the dragon. I just love the themes and going with, everyone loves Barcelona. So I want this to be the place where you can come and just like be by the sea and create content.
I was actually hoping to catch you in Barcelona, but then I saw you moved to Tel Aviv.
Barcelona and Tel Aviv are very sister cities. I compare it to like LA and New York of Europe, right? Why did I move to Tel Aviv? Well, I met an Israeli man, right? We fell in love in Portugal, and I live to live abroad and to have new experiences and be outside my comfort zone. This is what gives me life.
You just flew from Barcelona to Tel Aviv, came in 5 a.m.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Like excited to have the weekend start.
What do people do on weekends in Tel Aviv?
Today is Thursday, so tomorrow our weekend starts because it's Shabbat, the day to rest and be with your family and don't use technology. But, because it's a modern city, there's also people that go out usually partying on Thursday night, so tonight or Friday night, because it is the weekend. I mean, this is all personal for me. I don't know what other people do, but people taking long walks on the beach. It's amazing. I really love it here. Nothing really beats, beach life and sea life, Mediterranean lifestyle. So
I see you sticking with the beach cities.
Yeah.
Moving from LA to Barcelona. Yeah. There's a theme going.
There's a theme, you have to do what the soul wants. Everything's about the path of least resistance.
I like that. I moved to Spain actually as well 6 years ago now. Barcelona felt like it's great to go out and spend the day.
It's a bustling city, it's metropolitan, lots of tourism. There's a lot of people coming in, and that's kind of part of why I like it too, because I like to be in the middle of all the, in the middle of it all.
Exactly. You feed on that. Which brings us back to your quest and your mission. You talk a lot about freedom, creating freedom for freelancers, for business owners, small business owners. You mentioned there's 150,000 attendees to your course. Is that Instagram or is the Domestika course?
So most of my students come from Domestika. There was some crazy timing with when this course was launched. It literally launched the day of lockdown. That was part of the success recipe, is that people had nothing to do but take my course, apparently.
That was amazing timing. Well, the worst case of cases that could happen to humanity, of course, but in terms of content creation, right? And you just launched it like day of lockdown.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose. It was, I was in Madrid. I filmed the course in 2019. I was always supposed to launch in March 2020. That was the official launch date, but who knew? What's crazy is I remember when we were filming the course, I was listening to the news and, they were talking about, China and like how there was COVID, and it was just like starting. And I was like, oh, that's like kind of scary to think about. What if this might get works. And then March rolls around and there you go. The rest is history. And then Instagram and social media became even more important to be able to connect with others, to connect with other people while we've been isolated. So it's like being together, but alone, right? And that's what social media is. It's a way to connect human to human and have this dialogue. That's why the first element in the Dragons formula is all about dialogue. D is for dialogue.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into the Dragon formula. I have it written out here. So like dialogue, reliability, authenticity, giving value, opinion, right? And the niche clarity. Talk us through that formula. How did you come up with it? Was it on purpose to use the dragon?
Well, actually, I did not come up with it. I'm going to give credit to my ex-boyfriend. He was like, oh, like you should watch Game of Thrones. And I was like, what the hell is Game of Thrones? I don't have time to watch series in my life. And it was the most inspiring saga I've ever watched in the last, 10 years. I remember I watched the entire series all over like Christmas break. So it was like within like 2 weeks, I watched all 8 seasons.
Same. It's like binge to the bone, right? I mean, it's like you don't go to sleep. We start binging that series. It's crazy, right?
It was so amazing. I really enjoyed, all the ups and downs and just especially how they portrayed Daenerys Targaryen. I mean, she is just such a full character and, not the most perfect person, obviously, but how empowered she became through the journey and how we watched her blossom and grow. And I really identified with that because most people don't know that I was actually an extreme introvert. I was failing in school because in American school, you get graded on participation. And I would never participate because I was deathly scared of ever raising my hand. I really hated any attention on me, or most of my childhood, I just tried to be invisible in school. It's just like the Mother of Dragons was a character I really related to because she was this naive, young girl. And then you see her blossom into this powerful dragon queen character. And this transformation was how I felt when I went through, I call it my rebranding process in 6th grade. So I did my first rebranding when I turned 12 years old, right? I started reading these books on like how to have charisma, how to like hold a conversation, and like literally trying to teach myself how to, be more of a engaging human being because I was just extremely introverted. I had social anxiety that I couldn't even go to buy lunch. I remember I would like cry because I was so shy to go buy lunch in the cafeteria because I'd have to have human interaction. And this girl, I remember Laura Benjamin, she came to help me buy lunch because I was just too scared. The way that people see me today and see me on Instagram, like that's not where I started. I started like working on myself at a very young age out of necessity because my family, they're also first generation immigrants to the States. And so they counted and relied on me to be their English translator and communicator. So all of these things added to my journey of like developing my social skills and my communication skills out of necessity and training myself to be popular in school. I knew I was a loser, shy loser girl, like literally no friends. People would make fun of me. In school, people would call me Dorkathy because I was such a dork. And I remember Scott Bredesen, he used to say, haha, like Dorkathy, did you know that dork means whale's penis? I'm like, that, children are so cruel. Like kids are the cruelest human beings.
Oh, cruel.
So he would just like tell everyone that my name, Dorkathy, meant whale's penis. And that was, my school life, and I was scarred for life. Obviously. But I worked through that and I learned how I didn't want to be a dork. I didn't want to be a dork anymore. So like this whole, literally changed my name from Dorothy to Dot when I remember when AOL came around and we had to create our Instant Messenger.
I remember that one.
And so I had to like make my name shorter because Dorothy Long was too long. I didn't want to be, the shy loser, dorky girl. I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be able to participate and be popular in school so that I can be included and connected in the community. What happened was I started mimicking what the other girls were doing in school that were popular. Blonde hair and blue eyes, and they're part of like the dominant culture. As an immigrant, you're always striving to assimilate to what the dominant culture is. So I didn't dye my hair blonde yet or anything like that, but I started like observing what they were doing in between classes in class. And so I started saying hi to everyone, like, hi, Scott. Hi, Brandon. Like, how are you? Like, just opening up this dialogue, because dialogue is visibility. So when you are actually having a conversation with someone online or in real life, you are actually being visible. Because I was an invisible person before, nobody saw me because I would never talk to anyone. So the minute that I put myself out there and I said, hello, how are you? And started a conversation, that dialogue allowed me to be seen by another person. And this is the same exact way that it works on Instagram or on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Everything starts with a dialogue. And this is part of, how to become a dragon, right? How to become popular on social media, because that's what I help people do. I help them get seen, get heard, get talked about, and get extremely popular on Instagram. How did I come up with the dragon acronym? So it was actually totally by accident. I've been teaching for 5 years on how to build social media communities at different universities all around Spain and Europe. 2010s, I was already teaching all this stuff.
That was way before any influencer industry even existed, right?
So I launched with this agency in Barcelona, one of the first influencer marketing campaigns ever. And this was like in 2014 or 2015. Like, we got all of these influencers for a Volkswagen campaign. And I've been doing this for, I'm a dragon. I've been doing this for a while. So
you're in 8th season now. You're flying on the back of the dragon, burning down, building up towns in your case. That was your journey, literally, like amazing transformation.
It's not.
And I guess that's really relatable to a lot of people, like, which brings us to the second point there with the R in the dragon.
Yes, relatability is what makes you go viral. So if anyone says, oh, how do I make viral content? You make relatable content, because relatability, this factor, is what makes a human and human connect. And that is an emotional connection. Everybody has felt sad, felt happy, has seen something funny. We can relate to each other in an emotional level. So if you can craft relatable content, it's literally going to get your content seen in front of the news feed. Why? Because relatable content is directly correlated to likable content. So the more relatable a piece of content, this is why the human brain is going to like it, because we relate to it and we understand it also. So we are going to more likely put a like. When you get that like, the algorithm is sent a message to generate your content on more feeds. So this is why people are chasing the likes, chasing the engagement, because they want to get their content seen. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I create relatable content, right? How do I get more likes on my content? You need to be more relatable, more personable. And this is through storytelling. Storytelling is an art form that has been passed down through generations since the caveman ages, of how we share and communicate with other human beings. If you can succeed at creating a great story and become a good storyteller, this is how you will create content that's evergreen. Okay, evergreen meaning it will never expire. Great stories, they're legends, they're tales that never go away. You keep on telling them.
That's true.
And that's the R in the dragon. It's a whole module on just what are the different ways of relating to your target customer, relating to your community. The more you relate, and those stories are what people are going to share. That is pure word of mouth marketing. There's a great book by Kendra Hall. So she says there's 4 stories every company, every brand, every person must tell, which is the founder's story, the customer story, the value story, and the purpose story. You should figure out what these 4 stories are for you, and your social media is just repeating that so that you can be relatable to the right people.
All right. Before we head into authenticity, it sounds like the Dragon formula could be applied to pretty much any social media channel. It's not like you focus on Instagram as well as LinkedIn, I suppose. And
I love Instagram. I started with Facebook. I love Instagram, but obviously the business is on LinkedIn. It depends. You're not going to be advertising your e-com products on LinkedIn, probably. You're going to be on TikTok for that.
All right. So each platform has its purpose. So let's go into authenticity.
Well, authenticity is an overused word right now because everyone's trying to be authentic online, right? But seldom people are truly authentic, because what does authenticity mean? It truly means, I'd have to quote Brene Brown on this, is like, having the courage to be vulnerable. If you are any tiny bit unauthentic, you will attract fake followers, right? So the reason why we have to be extremely true to who we are is because that's the way you will attract real, true followers and true super fans. You must be honest. There's no other way around it. Unless you decide you want to fake it till you make it. But if you fake it till you make it, that's not sustainable.
And it also happens that you fake yourself into someone who you're not or don't want to be, perhaps.
So exactly. And many influencers do this. They're like, oh, look at my watch, look at my car, look at all the places that all the girls I'm with, whatever. Like, first of all, that doesn't really stimulate me, but that does stimulate a part of the population. If they're able to keep up with that and be on brand consistently, because branding is just about being consistently who you are, then good for them, and then they will attract a type of audience. But that's not the type of influencer, you and I might follow. But that is a great influencer. Let's say Kim Kardashian. She's the most followed influencer on Instagram. I don't particularly subscribe, but most of the Instagram world is following her. That's why she's the most followed influencer. What does that say about our society and our values? It's more of a reflection on us as a human race, on what we value.
Yeah.
And who we find influential. So authenticity is extremely important because you need to stay true to who you are, true to your values, because it's a reflection of who you are. And that's how you attract the right tribe around you, because your vibe attracts your tribe. So authenticity is putting out your vibe.
Your vibe, yeah.
Right? So just put out your vibe, be who you are.
When does giving value become valuable? Let's say someone who's starting out, and how do I find my value? What can I give to my audience? How would you approach that?
Okay, it's a broken record. Make valuable content. Well, what the heck does that mean? I know valuable content is different to each individual because, again, I use a Kim Kardashian example. She's apparently extremely valuable. She's making the most valuable content there is. Okay, according to data, she's the most value-giving person. And she's posting, brand collaborations, her sexy photos, what kind of cosmetic surgery, whatever she's doing. So that's valuable. That's valuable to women that want to look like her. That's valuable to men that want to see, this kind of beautiful woman. So value comes in many, many ways. You can decide what value you want to be known for. That's how you build a brand. I want to be known as an educator that's teaching beyond just Instagram strategy, so I'm now diving into more business. I'm teaching like how to get your first client, how to, have this freedom lifestyle. It started with Instagram, but whatever you teach and you want to give to the world, that is how you build a brand. So think about what you want to be known for. When you have your gravestone, what is it that you want to be remembered for? And that's kind of the value you want to give. And that's how people will remember you.
Opinion, which is the next one on the list, right? We're dragon here on the opinion, defining opinion, right? There's 2 types of opinion. The way I look at it, like you should, one should, we should, you should, or I have, and it's my experience and my opinion comes from that. Which one would you pick or prefer or recommend to go for?
That's a great question, and I can answer that based on the culture you are in, right? So I think the mannerisms, the culture depends from country to country. Now that I have experience, living in the Middle East, they're very direct. They're going to say, this is how it should be done. You should do it like this. In America, we are much more polite. It is my opinion that, that we should do it like this, much more diplomatic. And in Japan, it's too polite, right? In Asian culture, I don't believe in pushing your opinions on others, but I believe in sharing your point of view. And that's what the opinion piece is about, is sharing what your perspective is. Don't just repost a post. Give us your insight. Give us your point of view on why you're reposting something, right, of someone else's, because you have your own perspective. And I think it's really important to share everyone's perspective. You need to say your opinion and you need to share why you believe in something, because when you share your values and beliefs, this is when you will attract the right followers, the true followers. If you are staying everything like Switzerland and in gravy, then you're never gonna get those gung-ho super fans, because you're never really saying the truth of how you really feel. But if you do go out there and you're willing to share your real opinion, then the people that share that common opinion will come gather towards you. Birds of a feather flock together. So you need to share your opinion to attract the right feathers to come around you, the right community. So if you don't share it, then you're not gonna grow as fast.
Yeah, you're just sort of neutral news.
No, it's gonna be a little bit boring. Anything that you post, though, is your opinion, either in a diplomatic style or in your own style, or maybe it's very direct, but that's who you are. It's personal.
It's authentic.
Exactly. So those are for personal brands. Now, when you were talking about businesses and companies, well, that's a whole nother approach. They need, their PR guidebook and, brand guidelines, and that's a whole nother process, right?
Of course.
So this is why personal brands grow so much faster also, because it's easier for a human like Elon Musk to just spit out his opinion about anything.
Yeah. And smoke a joint on a podcast. He's like I'm super relaxed, but I'm a genius as well, right? But I don't give a beep, right, about what people think, which is his authentic style and approach, which I suppose feeds into your niche clarity.
You as an individual, you are a niche, right? You are the greatest niche there is. So you're going to probably attract people that are more like you, that share your same opinion, and that's a niche. But for companies that are just starting, niche is really all about niching down to blow up. When you want to scale up your services, your company, the only way to do that is to have first extreme clarity on who your target audience is, and then you can move into different audiences. But if you do not have niche clarity, it's going to be very difficult for you to scale your business. You know exactly this problem you solve for a specific person. That's all you need to know, because the better that you can serve them, the better you'll be able to serve other audiences. And so every startup that we've seen, Facebook started out with a niche of just students at Harvard, then it became all the Ivy Leagues, and it became all the universities, and it became the whole freaking world, right? Airbnb, they started with just people that were doing, couch surfing types of vagabonds, and now there's $1 million listings on Airbnb. Dropbox, they started with a very small niche as well, and they scaled it to the entire world and industry. So people get very, very excited, and they want to go big so fast, but it's all about starting small and really figuring out how you can best serve that niche market, addressable market. And for me personally, the way that I started was figuring out my niche was using the Ikigai formula. So Ikigai is the Japanese word for life's purpose. What you're good at with what you're passionate about and what you can actually get paid for to do. So this is when I was starting out my career. Sorry, there's an ambulance. There's a lot of old people in our neighborhood. later, when I look back in hindsight, I was like, oh, I've always been practicing Ikigai. I only want to build Instagram accounts that I'm personally passionate and interested in. Like, obviously, I was a little spoiled. I could say, I had the option to say yes or no already early on. But, what do I enjoy working in? Like, what is something that I could do for the rest of my life and I will still enjoy it? And that was all within music and design. I love music. I love design. So I wanted to make sure my clients were in this area. That's all about niche too, because if you niche, you'll actually enjoy, the work that you're doing. So for me, it was about doing something, that I love to do, something that I'm good at, and being able to get paid. I didn't know you could get paid growing Instagram accounts. That's how I started.
How to monetize Instagram, if you have some advice.
There's some girl that made $50 million selling eyelash extensions. You can sell a service. So I have a service. I sell social media services, consulting, copywriting for Instagram, strategy, like a service-based business. And then the third, you can, sell your audience, sell a product, sell a service, or sell your audience, meaning you have to grow an audience and then you can start renting your audience to a brand, right? That's what sponsorship's about. Once you have a big enough audience and you're, a full-time content creator, brands and businesses will want to rent your audience. We work with influencers, right, in the design and business sector. So they have anywhere from, 100,000 followers to, let's say, 1 million followers on Instagram. So depending on how big your audience is how much you can actually rent your audience for. So we've done deals, any $10,000 deals for one reel. We've done deals for $30,000. We sell placements in influencers' newsletters. We sell placements inside influencers' courses or ebooks, be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, right? So there's many different placements.
So that would be the definition of what an influencer campaign would be looking like.
Yeah, so that's kind of what our little agency does. Like we, on a retainer and commission basis to make these creator partnerships happen. So that has been a huge demand. Like my business, mainly, we do strategy, we do implementation and management, but a huge demand, like especially in the last 2 years, were influencers. Like, oh, we need influencers. Like, can you help us?
How big of a part of your revenue is that agency work? And then what would be the rest?
Right now, currently, it's probably like 75% is agency work. So that's either doing brand partnerships, creator collaborations for influencers and for brands. We're on both sides. But that's one of our services. Mainly, we do social media strategy and content creation for different brands and businesses. So that's occupying 75%. The other parts are the online courses, workshops, and speaking engagements. I told you I was into real estate these days. So just trying to really build a more freedom, flexible lifestyle so that I can travel and do whatever I want, basically.
Wonderful. So how can businesses reach you? They go to your website, message you on LinkedIn.
So you guys can definitely check out my award-winning website. We're very proud of it.
It is amazing.
So thank you. Yeah, we actually, the website launched in 2018. It was a really awesome project. We won so many awards on it. Like it was crazy. Reach out to me on Instagram. I personally answer every single message. That's how we even got connected, I'm sure, is if you message me on LinkedIn.
I did.
Facebook or Instagram, I will get to it eventually.
Yeah, and it was awesome. Like, hi, Dot, I'd love to have you on my show. And your reply was like, here's my calendar.
The face-to-face dialogue, it's very powerful what one conversation can lead you to. So this is just the beginning.
Wonderful. Which brings us to a close of today's session. I really appreciate having you on the show. So much value given on this. I hope everyone got their notebooks out and written down amazing tips, because you just gave them away your entire course. Mother of Social Media Dragons. Long. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the year and have a great time in Tel Aviv.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.